The Legend of Heroes Trails in the Sky second chapter was originally released in Japan way back in 2006 and took a whopping 9 years to get released in North America. Yes, a AAA JRPG was released for the PlayStation Portable only 2 short years ago in 2015. It's kind of a shame too, because it was really overlooked by the masses. I mean, who was playing on their PSP in 2015? Now, it was great news for fans of the original game, myself included. This is really surprising that the game was actually finally released. It had a really rocky translation, which is the main reason why it took so long for it to get released over here. Thankfully, the game is available on PC, as well as the PlayStation Vita and the PSP, so it means there are options if you're interested in checking it out, and I would strongly recommend going the PC route, as not only can you play the first game and this one, but you can also play the third chapter, which was recently released on May 3rd. If you've never played the original Trails in the Sky, do yourself a favor and stop watching this review and go play that game. Unlike most JRPGs, this one follows directly where Trails in the Sky left off, so you don't really want anything spoiled for yourself. The very good news is that you can technically play this game without having played through the original, only because the early portions of the game set up the tale in such a way that they sort of recap the ending of the first game. And I remember 2 years ago when I played through this game that I really enjoyed that because I had forgotten most of how the first game had ended, so it just quickly came back to me. This one deals with Estelle going on a journey to try and find Joshua, who's gone missing, and I don't want to tell you why. I want to leave it just like that. Now, I said that you could play this game without having played the original, but I really wouldn't recommend doing that. Only because all of the different characters have their own little quirks, and they're all charming. And if you don't know a certain character, it's okay, you'll quickly get to know them in the second one, but you won't have that sort of attachment to them like you would if you'd played the original. So I really recommend going and playing the original before playing this game. The gameplay is pretty much identical to that of the first game. You explore, enter dungeons, fight, and fight. The combat system is 99% the same, with the same art and craft magical abilities, grid-based movement, and so on. Making quartz to enhance your magical and statistical abilities is unchanged as well, although now there are even more powerful variations of spells you can perform. You can also perform a powerful chain combo attack, which is actually the only new addition to the entire combat system. The thing is though that the combo move isn't as efficient as having your characters attack independently, so I didn't actually end up using it all too often. Even though the gameplay is largely unchanged from the original, it remains fun throughout, although it can get a little bit bogged down during the regular trash enemies that litter the game world. Instead of just taking a few seconds to defeat, enemies actually take a couple of minutes, which of course slows down the pacing. Considering the game's around 70 to 75 hours, you can expect to fight a lot of different enemies, and it can be a little slow going for the first half of the game or so. That said, when it finally does reach its climax, it's completely worth it. The biggest annoyance I had with second chapter was the amount of backtracking present. And no, I'm not talking about Dragon Quest VII level of backtracking, but there are countless side quests that require you to revisit previously explored areas, as well as an entire chapter of the story that has you traversing the world on foot. The audio-visual presentation is exactly as you'd expect. It's top notch. Many of the tunes have been repeated from the first game, but I'm okay with that because they were great. As before, it's nice to see the attention to detail in the different environments, and I also liked returning to some of the previously explored areas in the first game because it sort of helps you bridge this game with that game, and I always loved when games did things like that. The Legend of Heroes Trails in the Sky second chapter May have taken a little while to get released in North America, but the wait was certainly worth it. While the game wasn't released on UMD in North America, it was released digitally on the PlayStation Network and can be played on both the PSP and the PlayStation Vita. It's also available on Steam and comes highly recommended for fans of Trails in the Sky.